In just a week from now, the world's most important conference on international security starts in the German city of Munich. And I am pleased to be able to welcome now the head of the Munich Security Conference and former German ambassador to the United States, Wolfgang Ischinger. Mr. Ischinger, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
It's a pleasure. Good morning.
Now, I'd like to begin with one of the big stories today. As we've heard, France set to oppose Germany on Nord Stream. Macron also canceling his joint appearance at this year's Munich Security Conference. How worried are you that cracks are forming in the relationship between France and Germany right now?
Well, let's keep the facts straight. We were planning. I had invited President Macron and Chancellor Merkel to appear together. Actually, I tried that already a year ago. A year ago, it didn't work because there was a German problem. Chancellor Merkel didn't have a government fully formed last February, so this plan fell through at the time. I was hoping very much that this year we could go forward. And a week ago, not yesterday, the Elysee told us that President Macron was not going to be able to come as planned. And the reasons that were given to us had to do with the need of the President of France to entertain his national dialogue and to worry about domestic issues rather than go abroad for this particular conference. So for us, this is unfortunate, but not a big tragedy.
But I mean, what do you think it says, though, about the state of affairs here in Europe? Because, I mean, you had previously welcomed this as a way of showing that Europe is not falling apart. You highlighted the domestic issues in both countries. Were you wrong?
Well, no. I mean, look, France, even if President Macron isn't going to speak himself in Munich, we will have plenty of other senior representatives of the French government in Munich to explain French positions. There will be a huge American delegation, congressional delegation. There will be half a dozen German ministers, et cetera, et cetera. So I think the purpose, which is important to me, the purpose to demonstrate in Munich that the European Union is alive and kicking, that purpose can still be maintained. We will have plenty of European speakers from Germany, from France, from a number of other important European countries, including the current Romanian presidency, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So for me, it's very important that we demonstrate, especially to the Anglo-Saxon community, that the impression that may be created elsewhere, that because of Brexit, the European integration project is about to crumble, that's wrong. Actually, popular support for the European Union in most countries is up, not down.
But if we drill down a little bit deeper into the security situation here in Europe, I mean, there's been much talk about a common European defense, especially with the U.S. calling the NATO alliance into question recently. What is your take on current efforts? Because, I mean, Europe doesn't seem to be in too big of a rush to make any dramatic moves. Is it missing an opportunity?
Well, if you ask me personally, I think we could do even a lot more than what is currently being done to strengthen, indigenous European military capabilities, especially in the conventional area. But let's also be fair. There are important initiatives. Take, for example, you raised the Franco-German relationship. There is now on the drawing board a new Franco-German fighter aircraft, which has just been agreed. That is a very, very important, symbolic, but also substantial new initiatives in the direction of strengthening and pooling European military capabilities. But I would be the first to agree we could even do a lot more, especially we in Germany, where the defense effort is not, I think, what it should be.
How about also when it comes to the defense of multilateralism, just generally speaking, you know, that rules-based order that was established in the wake of World War II, institutions like the UN, the WTO, for example. I mean, it's come under attack by populism politics around the world. Merkel speaking recently about the importance of preserving it. How do you see the prospect for making meaningful changes to address current challenges and really supporting that world order? What's your take?
Well, I think this is a key challenge for the entire European Union. If there is one important bloc in the world that relies on a free and open and rules-based international order, it is surely the European Union. And I think it's one of the main tasks for all of us in the EU to try to put together, as has been said, a kind of an alliance of multilateralists around the world. We're not alone. There is Canada, there is Australia, there is a good number of other important countries out there that share our interest in a global free trade system, that share our interests in strong international institutions, that share our interests in a rules-based international system. So I think we need to work on that. We need to create partnerships and alliances. But the EU, I believe, has the calling and has the power, actually. We represent 500 million people. We are the strongest trading and economic bloc in the world if one looks at current data. We have a lot of economic and soft power also, and that's where we should apply it, building multilateralism, rebuilding multilateralism in a world that's fraying in the margins.
And given that, Ambassador Ischinger, just briefly before we go, because we know that, you will have high-ranking representatives there, of course, at the Munich Security Conference, including from the big three military powers, the US, Russia, China, which we have really seen redefining their roles very much in the world recently. What is your key message to them?
Well, I think that it would be a major disaster for the global future if we really allow a situation between the big powers to develop that would look like, classic great power rivalry, zero-sum games. I think we have enough in common between even Russia and the United States, between Europe and China and everybody else, to try to work together, to put cooperation, to put integration above the kind of rivalry which seems to be the motto of 2019. And we will need to talk about that next weekend in Munich. We'll have some pretty tough, hard talk, I hope, in order to clarify what the priorities of responsible leadership need to be in 2019.
And we very much look forward to seeing how those talks progress. We want to thank you very much. Wolfgang Ischinger, head of the Munich Security Conference and former German ambassador to the United States. We very much appreciate it.